Welcome to Andy D. Cole's podcast. Please like, share and subscribe.
Welcome to Andy D. Cole's podcast. Press like and subscribe.
Welcome to Andy Decodes. Sit back and enjoy as we dive deeper down into the rabbit hole and into the unknown.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good day, good whatever it is, wherever you are. Welcome to today's show. I'm joined by the wonderful Earl Anderson and the amazing Chris Evers. Welcome, guys.
Hello.
Great
to
see
you.
How you doing? I'm just posting this onto Facebook. I didn't realize. I forgot that we were live streaming and people can actually watch. So there is.
It's all these Hollywood nights you keep having, mate. That's what it is.
I guess. I don't know.
No, burning the candle at both ends, Earl.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what it is.
I'm just burning it from the and both ends, I think.
Yeah,
probably,
why not?
you know, but,
Just pour it in gasoline and set fire to it.
Oh, man.
Yeah. But did either of you notice Chris's cameo in that intro then? Stood behind Paul Sinclair.
No, I never saw that, mate. I noticed Paul and I noticed Steve Mira, but I know where you got them.
Right,
and,
let me... I'll just play it again. There's a guy in the background with a baseball cap on.
It was very nice. I saw that.
Are you ready?
Welcome to Andy D. Cole's podcast. Please like, share and subscribe.
Welcome to Andy D. Cole's podcast. Press like and subscribe.
Oh my God.
You know, I didn't even know you was in that till I played it. Even when I was putting it all together, didn't even know you were there.
Fees. I charge appearance fees, mate. You know that, and repeat appearance fees as well.
I thought it was the first 10 was free. Not
no,
no,
go on,
you get that wrong.
It's a very nice intro. Paul is
I like it.
Good.
So we was all at an awakening that weekend because you was over doing one in California. Me and Chris were up in Manchester. So how did yours go? I've seen all the pictures that you put up on Facebook.
Went really well. It went really well. I've just been busy. I can't keep track of anything anymore. Well, we had our MUFON meeting, and Paul, the illustrious Paul Hynek was our guest, and it was literally standing room only. We had all kinds of folks showed up. Greg Bishop, one of my favorite ufologists in the world, and one of my dearest friends, he was there just to be there. We had who else? The guy who puts on Contact in the Desert was there with his son, and it was just really cool. It was a great turnout, and Paul was, he's brilliant, and he literally spoke for 2 hours. I told him, he was just going to talk about gathering events, and told him, well, you got to tell some stories about your family and growing up with, your dad. So I told him, you got the stage and you can go as long as you want. So he went for 2 hours and he had the audience in the palm of his hand.
Cool. Without a doubt.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
He's a top guy. When he come on here, he was just so down to earth and just like anyone else. It was
Feet
really
in the
good.
dust, head in the stars, and that's Paul, kind of,
Yes,
It's actually been personally quite some time since I spoke to Paul. Myself and Philip Mantle, we actually interviewed him for the Inside Out Limits radio show, and we interviewed him with Calvin Parker, which of course Calvin unfortunately passed away 2 days before the Awakening event in Great Britain. But obviously, it wasn't announced until around 2 or 3 days later, and bit of a sad event. Just thinking, Calvin was no longer with us, really.
It's heartbreaking. I loved Calvin. He was such a good guy. And I was literally, I was in in Kentucky having lunch with Dr. Irena Scott and Ray Szymanski and a few other people in the UFO field. And I asked Irena how Calvin was doing. I knew probably not very well. We knew that he was sick, but she was kind of sworn to secrecy. The family wanted to, have a funeral and do all their stuff before it was made public. So she, she didn't. I have to hand it to Irena. She was very, very good. She respected the family's wishes. She's sitting right there. You could tell, she wanted to say something, but she didn't. She couldn't.
Yeah. It was a very sad time. Very sad time. It's just one of the things. We've I suppose we've all got these kind of troubles in our families. It's just how we cope with them, really.
Yeah, it is. So,
but let's be joyous. Come on, let's get to
I was waiting for someone before we all went down a deep dark hole somewhere.
Yeah.
I know we're starting on a real positive note here.
Yeah,
funereal and lugubriousness and all that good stuff. So.
Right. So can I just jump in with my quick updates and then we'll go on. So you guys who are watching, obviously, if you're listening on podcast, you ain't going to be able to see this, but there is a URL rolling across the bottom of the screen. So that is for the filming that I did, and a few other people, including Deborah Hatswell, the Kinsellas, and a few others to mention. So Amazon just kept moving everything about. So basically, it's going out on YouTube tomorrow night. It's on a channel called Paranormal Film Unit. And if you look on, I'm going to pop it up on the screen now. So that is the actual, that link there that's just come up under my name. That's for the trailer that's going out. I think it goes out at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, and it's on every week between now and Christmas. The first 2 episodes, I think, is more about the production company and how they got started and got into the world of paranormal. Then following that, I'm not sure if it's 6 or 8 episodes. They're roughly about half an hour or so long. So please do watch it, as you'll see me just rambling on as usual, like a Wednesday or a Friday night. But yeah, that's the show and the channel. So if you could please subscribe to it, it will be worth it. There's a lot of content on that, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll be doing some more filming later on next year for season 2. So thank you. So that is that one. I did have another update, but while I try and remember, Chris, do you want to tell us about the cancellation of OLM this year and the reason?
Yes, I can do that. Yeah. Basically, what happened is I put the tickets on sale round about, was it February, March time this year, and ticket sales went great, absolutely fantastic. That was until the end of the early bird period, and unfortunately, I didn't sell a single ticket from the 1st of April right up until I cancelled the event on the 1st of July. So I had enough to pay for the flight over of Peter Robbins. I had enough to pay for the venue, but that was it. I just couldn't, and the way things were going, I thought, well, nothing's going to sell between now and the end of September when the conference is. I think the economic climate that we've been going through globally has actually affected the event. So I was left with no choice but to actually cancel the OLM 2023 conference And I have now refunded 99.9% of everybody involved. So that's all absolutely fine. It's all well and good. But the good news is I've got an appointment to go in the next 10 days to go back to Hull University to the campus there and speak with somebody else. The Hull University has 7 different size rooms they can let out. So I am planning something once again for 2024. So please keep your eye on the website, www.olm-mag.co.uk, and all the latest information will go on there. You can also subscribe to the mag at the same site, and of course I'll put all the information in there, who's speaking, how much your tickets, how to get your tickets, everything will be in that for next year. So, you know, let's say blow the economic climate, as it were, and you know, let's get this conference up and running once again.
Yeah, because like you said, I bought my ticket in March, and then I got an email when I was on holiday in, was it June?
You can afford holidays. What kind of job are you doing, mate?
Well, I can when I'm getting money back refunded from a ticket.
Yeah, it was about June, July time, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I got an email. It's like, oh. And I had to message Chris back pretty quick because the card that I'd used to buy the ticket had expired. So I was like,
well, that was all right. I wasn't going to do it that way anyway. I basically did it through my own bank account and paid people back that way. So it was a straight bank transfer straight into your own account.
Yeah, but the bank that I had doesn't exist anymore, the account that I had. So it's like, that's why I had to message you pretty much straight away.
I remember that now. Yes.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right, Andy. Yeah.
Yeah, because so it wasn't me being tight or anything like that. I thought he's going to try and send it, and it'll go in the void somewhere, floating around forever.
Yeah.
So
no worries. We're planning for.
No, but I'm definitely going to the one. Definitely going to the one next year once it's up and sorted and what have you.
Okay, no problem.
So, Earl, have you got anything you'd like to discuss, or any links that you want to talk about?
Just wow, I've just been busy. You know, we MUFON Southern California. We have been going to monthly meetings, speaker meetings. I've had just wonderful people. You know, we just had the honor of presenting Paul Hynek last Sunday, and it was standing room only. I'm gonna have to find a bigger venue. It's like in the movie Jaws, where they go, "We need a bigger boat." Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger boat.
Yeah, do it on a boat. Just hire a yacht, hire a 100-foot yacht or something.
I don't know. I mean, we left the door open.
Background.
Yes. Well, we left the door open, so some people could just kind of stand there if they wanted to, just outside the door. And you know, we didn't turn anyone away. But and also that's Paul Hynek. You know, he usually just does conferences and stuff. So it was just you know, he's a personal one of my best friends. Yes. So he did that for me, but the room wasn't big enough for him.
Thanks to you, he came on this show because that was just awesome and really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, my
because pleasure. I don't think there'd have been any other way of him actually coming on, because he doesn't, like you said, he doesn't do live streams or anything like that, does he? He just does the conferences and then that's it, job done and gone.
Yeah. I mean, Paul at Alien Con, I shouldn't say. Well, I will though. He literally had a bouncer. I guess he's to that point now, where, you know, and I don't know if that's because he's afraid of being mobbed or if he's afraid of being kidnapped, you know, by the men in black or something.
Wow, you never know, do
That's impressive. You get to the point where you have to hire your own security guy. It's that's Paul.
That'll be Chris next year at OLM.
Futurist. Of course, he's got all those wonderful stories about growing up in the Hynek family. And he talked about his brother, you know, creating nitroglycerin in the basement,
in the shed,
starts smoking, and he and his brother run out of the house. And it's like Dr. Hynek had to run back in there. He grabbed the container, and I guess he got rid of it before it blew the house up. somehow.
Yeah, and didn't they
just
build
the
a
most
rocket
interesting
as well?
life that he had, and
Didn't
that he spoke about that for maybe an hour because I
Yeah.
insisted. He wanted to talk about gathering evidence. I said, well, that's all good and fine, but I want you to talk about growing up Hynek too.
Yeah.
So he spoke for 2 hours, and there aren't a lot of people that can keep you in the palm of their hands for 2 hours. But Paul, it was just like comes naturally to him, and it was brilliant, wonderful. And next month we have Robert Salas speaking, who Robert was the commanding officer of the Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana that was hovered over by a UFO, and he had his missiles shut off. So anyway, it's pretty cool. Paul has Earl as his manager. I'm not his manager.
No. Well, bit of a sideline going on.
Guy.
Yeah, but didn't him and his brother build a rocket as well when they were younger?
Yeah, they built a rocket engine in the backyard. And this was they were digging a hole in the backyard, and he came up with this contraption with buckets and a chain, and it was motorized, and so they would fill the buckets would fill with dirt, and the mom finally had to come up with a rule where if I can't see the top of your head, you have to stop. Because they were way down in this hole. I mean, I don't know if they're trying to dig to China, if they were looking for treasure, probably looking for Bitcoin, and he's got all these wonderful stories, like Neil Armstrong insisted on having all of his meals with the Hynek family on an eclipse cruise that they all wound up on in the 1970s, and Asimov was on that cruise. People like Carl Sagan, I mean, there were a lot of luminaries on that cruise. Neil Armstrong, the first man to step foot on the moon, insisted on sitting there with the Hynek family. It's his choice.
That's just that.
Got to make you wonder what he did see on the moon.
I wonder what they spoke about.
Yeah, I remember him saying he'd come home from school and they'd go sitting down at the dinner table, and like Steven Spielberg would be there amongst other actors and directors and producers, and it's like, but just coming home to that just once would just speechless, won't you?
Travis Walton for dinner.
Travis.
I mean, I've had dinner with Travis, but that was back a long time ago. And Father Gill, from the New Guinea case where they saw the UFO and his whole congregation, it was like they're having a little party on this trellis top of this, the cupola of a flying saucer. And Father Gill was not into UFOs, of course. He was a theologian, and he happened to be in the States for I think it was an Anglican conference or something, and so he stayed with Hynek's, and that was actually J. Allen Hynek's one of his favorite cases. It was it was a multi-witness. I mean, the full congregation saw this thing, and the aliens were waving at them from the top. It was like this little cocktail party going on on top of the UFO. Wow. I mean, was that us from the future? Was that, like a comparable to a cruise ship or something? I don't know. But interesting stories.
It's very interesting. Right. Christopher. So Christopher
one of my mum calls me Christopher when I'm in trouble.
Oh, well, you're not in trouble yet. It depends how this goes.
I'll keep trying then.
Right. So Chris has a couple of topics that we want to cover. Obviously, it's like alien UFO based, and he sent me some data over. So do you want to start talking about it while I get everything ready?
Yeah, I can do. Like most of us, well, let's be honest. The last 2 or 3 weeks have been pretty important for the topic, really. We've had the NASA hearings come forward, which, let's be honest, that didn't really bring anything forward that we wasn't expecting. and they committed to the other nickname that they've got, Never a Straight Answer, and that continues as is. And of course, within a couple of days of this, we have the Mexican hearings, congressional hearings. I think there was, if Earl can correct me there. Is that right, Earl?
Yeah.
Congressional, yeah. Okay.
It was it wasn't actually the Mexican Congress. This was put together by Jaime Maussan, who.
So he was the man behind it all, then.
Yeah, they had important people there. In fact, Robert Salas was there, who's our next guest next month, my MUFON meeting. He was there, but it wound up. It's still. The results are still kind of in the air. I mean, it looks like it may have been either a hoax or it may have been somehow or another. The two bodies that they had were not the ones that the Peruvians, say have weird DNA and that they don't understand scientifically what they really are. And this was supposed to be from that group of mummies, and now it's questionable whether they were or not. It'll be interesting. I mean, I want to hear what Robert Salas has to say about it. As far as Jaime Maussan goes, he's not really a ufologist. He's a journalist, and he kind of goes for the extreme stories, I think, because that's what people want to hear out there. But his past is a little checkered, I think.
Yeah, that's basically what I wanted to bring up, because it was well known in the 1990s in Mexico as a presenter of TV shows, and he did quite well for himself. Mm-hmm. And then, as we all know, back in 1997, we had the eclipse, and of course we had the alleged UFO sightings at the time of the eclipse. We had what appeared to be balloons tied together, flying around, and people. I'm not saying they were balloons by any means at all, but people were actually videotaping these and taking images of these. And once Jaime got his hands on some of this footage, his ratings absolutely shot up. He, as I say, very well respected, good TV presenter. But then, because he got the higher ratings, because he started showing UFO clips, he came out with Andy, have you got the still image of the 1997 UFO?
Well, yeah. Do you want me to read the briefing that you sent me? It's all like a paragraph and a half.
Yeah, you've done to read it, mate. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. So I can't pronounce the guy's name because that.
Maussan.
Yeah. So him. Yeah. We said what he said. Received a very special package. Someone had sent him a videotape. In itself, nothing remarkable. But when he played the tape on his video recorder, it took his breath away. For the anomaly.
Big
words. Yeah. For the anonymously sent recording showed nothing but points of light and sky, except for a large metallic structured rotating disc which maneuvered in broad daylight over Mexico City with a dateline of the 6th of August 1997. The above is a panorama assembled from 4 frames of the video so that motion, rotation, and the size changes of the object are easier to see. And this was created by Mark Cashman. So now I've ruined that. I'll bring some photos up and hopefully sort myself out. So do you want the one? I'll do the panorama one. I'll do one of the four images. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So that is basically it's the video, and the guy who has done this, Mark, whatever his name was, has actually taken certain sections of the video, stuck them together, and this was alleged to have flown over an unknown area of Mexico City on that day, August the 6th, 1997. At the time, it absolutely fascinated people. What is this? Where's it from? Is it real? It's not a hoax. Nobody could disprove it, to be in so many words, even though there were people around who thought that this was a hoax. And that is how it stayed for a couple of years, maybe 2, maybe 3 years, something like that. And that is until just a few short years later, my good friend Russ Callahan and a gentleman who's actually been passed now 20 years ago this month by the name of Graham Birdsell went to Mexico City. They was doing some work out there, and they arranged to meet up with Jaime Maussan at his home address. Now, please, if you can show the video now, please, mate.
Yeah, I just need to find where I've put it. So I'm going to have to do a screen share on this. Just let me take this off. Just give me one moment. Just
That's all right, mate.
Do you want to keep talking while I get this? Oh, let me know when it comes up, because I struggled with this the other day.
Okay, no worries.
And for some reason,
they'd gone to Jaime Maussan's home address in Mexico City, and they're in the back garden area. And Russ Callahan noticed across the way, just across the distance, through a gap in some trees, certain buildings, which were actually the same buildings that were in that photograph that we just looked at, that was originally in the video sent to Jaime Maussan, I can't even say the word, anonymously.
Right.
And you know, but if people look at this video and tell us what to think.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Can you see this on the screen now?
No, can't see it
yet.
Right. Can you not see anything?
No.
Oh, give me 1 second.
That's all right.
Why is it not working?
So when I'm Earl while he does this.
Right. Can you not see this?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing at all, mate. Just the 3.
Are you hitting screen? I mean, you have to hit screen share from your side, I think.
So I'm doing screen. So right, present.
It says
screen
present.
share.
There you go.
Right, window. There we go. So let me get this.
No, it's not there yet.
No, I'm just right. How about this? Can you see it now?
No.
It's not letting.
It's all right, mate. If people want to see the original video, I've removed the sound off this version. It is on UFO Russ, all one word, UFORUSS, right? And it's classed as Mexico 2, I think it is. And the full video, which is only about another minute longer, this one that you've got, mate, is only 90 seconds. It's all on there, and you can see exactly what Russell filmed from, you know, Jaime Maussan's back garden. You know,
right. It might do it now. Let me know if this comes up. Can you see that?
No.
Nothing. Oh, here we go. Right, found it. This is doing my head in, but I've worked it out now. Don't know what I've done, and I'll never remember. But let's try it. So I shall now.
More promising. There you go. You got it.
Hey, right.
There you go.
Okay.
Right. So let me. I've just got to open another screen.
Right. This is the video, as you can see. It's this was the original video in 1997, showing this unknown vehicle, this unknown craft, going behind the buildings, flying along like that. I think black and white footage, I think it was, if I remember at the time.
Yeah.
And this did baffle quite a few people. A nickname says, you know, he remembers that vid. So I remember it as well, mate, to be quite honest with you. But this is what Russ Callahan filmed from Jaime Maussan's garden. What we've got to remember here is that Jaime Maussan claimed this was sent to him anonymously. He claimed it was in an area of Mexico City that he didn't recognize and didn't know. Yet there's the buildings, not the tall one, just going off the screen now. There's the buildings seen from his own back garden. What does that tell you about the man?
Nothing.
It tells you basically that the man is just interested in TV ratings. All he is a journalist, basically.
Yeah.
He claims he's a ufologist, is not bothered as long as it's controversial. You know, yes, it has been debunked, nickname. It's been debunked many years ago, and it's definitely fake, definitely a hoax, and it was portrayed by the man known as Jaime Maussan. Next after that, we had, what is it, the Roswell slides? I think we had that. Yeah, there you go. So you remember them then, mate?
I was a new field investigator for MUFON when he did that event, and it was $25 to stream. And I remember it was such a bad the internet that was coming from the thing. You could barely watch it anyway, and it was supposed to be translated into English. It wasn't. And as soon as I saw the slide of the photo that he was presenting as an alien body, it's right off. It's like, that's a mummy. That's like, that's like a child mummy. And and it was just so embarrassing. And I know that Richard Dolan was there for the whole thing, and apparently he was trying to run, hide his face and get out of there as quickly as he could.
There are several famous names involved with this. Anthony Bragalia, although he apologized afterwards. I don't know if Richard Dolan did, but he was there, he was involved. He might have been trying to get himself out. Jaime Maussan, remember the name? Donald Schmidt, Tom Carey were also there. They were also involved at the time. I believe that Jaime Maussan paid Anthony Bragalia, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name, $5,000 for finding the picture, basically. But I do know that Anthony Bragalia, he sent that money to South America charity, which was involved with the people of Native American descent, to actually apologize for that, for finding that. Do you want to put the picture on, please, Andy, if you can, of the
So which one do you want?
Any of them, mate. It's number 3, I think. It's
yes,
JPEG.
there we go.
What you got to look at here is this picture has got the white section on the right hand side of the screen had been blanked out by somebody, so clearly trying to show it as a fake. But the wording in there described exactly who this was. It was a 2-year-old Native American child that had passed away years and years and years ago. This photograph, or one very similar to this, was taken in 1894, and it was actually passed on over 100 years later as being an alien body. And the actual wording on there describes what the child was wearing at the time of death, and so on and so forth. So all that, again, another fake, another hoax. Jaime Maussan was behind it. Then what did we get? After that, from Jaime Maussan again, we got the Metapec creature.
Metapec
remember
creature.
That? Yeah, do you remember that, Earl?
Yeah.
I remember watching the documentary on this a couple of years ago. I watched about 2 or 3. It's on different shows. But they went in and they spoke. This was in Mexico, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah, and they went in and they spoke with a guy who supposedly had it in his garage or his shed for like 4 days.
That's correct.
Before
like
he
that,
died or whatever. And
Now, what it actually turned out to be was a shaven marmoset, a monkey, basically. It was classed as another alien ET. Jaime Maussan was behind all this again. So, and then after that, what did we get? We got the Maria mummies from Peru once again in 2017. Again, classed as ET, they're aliens.
Sorry, I dropped out there for a second.
That's okay, man. Again, we got this one, Maria. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, mate. Yeah.
Sorry.
So, we got this again with Maria and the other 2 or 3 mummies that were around at the time. Again, all proven to be hoaxed. I know Steve Mera of Phenomena magazine. He's just put a video out about the finding of these corpses in Peru, And there is actually a production line that make these to sell to the tourists in Peru. So, you know, again, who said it was an alien ET along with the other ones? Jaime Maussan. And then what have we got last week? We've got two more alien bodies claimed to be by Jaime Maussan of non-human descent. Apparently, the Mexican university, and I forget the spelling of it, but I think it's UNAM. It's in Mexico City. It claimed, Jaime Maussan, that they'd investigated it, and they said that these are not human. Basically, there's at least a third of the DNA which is not human. Now, I know I have it on good authority that the people in the university, there are at least two of them whose names are Mexican. Please forgive me, I cannot pronounce them, but they have actually disclaimed themselves, and they've done exactly what David Grush did after the Mexican hearings last week. He's turned his back on them, he's walked away from them, and the Mexican university has disowned them, basically. You know, so again, the name behind all this is Jaime Maussan. Why is it that the UFO community, why do we still allow these people time? Why do we allow them, you know, space at our conferences? Why do we allow them to get away with this kind of stuff? It's time all this stopped. If we want to be taken serious as, you know, as something, we have to stop this kind of thing from happening.
But
I agree.
Who's going to stop it, though?
Well, we can police ourselves, can't we? We can just refuse to listen to what they've got to say. We can refuse to actually report on what they've found.
But then you're going to have the people that, no matter what these other people say, they're going to believe it religiously, that everything they say is gospel, regardless of what it is. So you're going to get that side of the coin as well.
Well, that's true. That's going to happen. But my opinion on that matter then is fool me once, fool me twice, fool you.
Yeah.
You know, once bitten, twice shy. There are plenty of other things we could say along those lines. With a record that these people have, and I'm not suggesting, you know, other people who've been involved in the past, you know, weren't fooled themselves, but the name behind it all is Jaime Maussan, and it needs stopping. People need to turn away from what he's saying. We will get to the truth one day in the subject, but before we do, we've got to get rid of the shysters, in my opinion.
That's very polite.
I mean, everybody makes, I mean, okay, just being honest. Being in this field, we're all subject to being fooled, you know, every once in a while. I mean, you've got to really watch that. I mean, I am so careful before I jump in and I say something is a UFO, or this is, you know, extraordinary thing, because you know, it's how you ruin your reputation. You have a long line, like, you know, like the tail of a comet behind you of bad choices and bad investigations and things like that. It just I mean, it just muddies the field itself. It gives the debunkers, you know, like Mick West and people like that, something to latch on to, and then they can throw out the baby with the bathwater, and I think it's up to us. We have to throw the bathwater out ourselves, you know.
Yeah.
I watched Stanton Friedman. Thank God. It was the one time I got to meet Stanton. I you know, loved his work, but they had Jaime Maussan at the MUFON conference, the symposium. I think it was 2015, maybe 2016. It was after this fiasco with the mummies. Yeah. And the reason why they had Jaime there was more or less to rake him over the coals in public, because, you know, I mean, MUFON, we're scientific based, you know. I mean, that's our creed, is the scientific investigation of UFOs for the benefit of humanity. It's simple, and it's right there. That's in our mission statement. So anyhow, Jaime was there, and he kind of did his spiel. And then Stanton Friedman and John from the Black Vault. We had there were impressive people there that were up on stage with him, and he was pretty much shamed in public there, and he deserved it. It was sort of like in Game of Thrones, where it's shame, shame, shame.
The bell.
You wish that would have sort of been the end of that guy's career, and yet here we go again. And there were people involved that I care about, that I love. But boy, oh boy, that's just not good. Stuff like that. And I as soon as I see Jaime Maussan's name on anything anymore, I run the opposite direction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Why are people giving him the
desperation
limelight? I suppose the time to do all this.
He's very popular.
Are they getting something from it?
Well, at the end of the day, I don't know if he's a freelance journalist, but he's a journalist. He's got a living to make, and if he can be seen to be the go-to man for information, then he's gonna. He's going to be the person to go to. There are others around the world, who are in the same position, who try and peddle, false information, which has just been put on the screen. There are even TV programs that are around today that are, do exactly the same thing. I don't want to mention any of them because, we might end up working for them.
Probably been on one of them.
But, they get away with it. For them, it's entertainment, but for us, it's more than entertainment. We want to see the truth come out, and that is why we do this. But it's, to me, it beggars two questions about Jaime Maussan and people of that ilk. One, the almighty dollar means a lot.
Yeah.
And two, what actual due diligence does he do when he's investigating these things before he makes public announcements? That's what I'm asking, basically.
Signing contracts, probably.
Well, there you go.
That's all I'm saying. But
you just got to be careful who you hitch your wagon to, in this field. And it should be, head caveat to everybody out there that does what we do is just, watch your P's and Q's, and don't let your name get smeared with this guy's, excrement.
Yeah, well, that is basically why I believe that the latest alleged alien mummies are all hoaxes. They're all hoaxes. It's as simple as that. It's just, I think actually that the picture that he used at the hearings in Mexico with the eggs in is the same picture that he used or claimed it got an X-ray of the eggs inside an alien in 2017. I actually believe it's the same one, slightly altered. The eggs made to look a bit larger. What you got to remember about reptiles when they give birth is they conceive everything at the same time. The eggs grow at the same rate inside of them, and they give birth, if we can call it that, with eggs at exactly the same time. So the eggs inside of them should not be different sizes as they were in the 2017 image.
It's like a platypus.
I used to keep snakes. I used to keep snakes, Andy. That's how I know that.
Right.
So there you go.
I thought you had a platypus, maybe,
Yeah, a duck-billed king snake, mate.
That's inside his piano. That's waiting.
Oh my! Are you Alice Cooper?
No, only on my day off, mate. Only on my day off.
Right, I've got a question for you, Christopher, from Nickname. So, I
don't trust him at all. Nickname. I've never heard of him. Don't trust him. No, I'm only joking. Okay.
Right, I'll do this one quick for Earl because it will be a quick answer. I know that. So this is from Nickname as well. She's asking, can I join MUFON California, even though she's in the UK?
Absolutely. Just go to MUFON.com. We do have a representative in the UK. We're trying to have a much stronger presence worldwide. You're going to be seeing some really interesting changes this year because MUFON, we're just really focusing on becoming established worldwide like we are in the States here. And I know we have a new UK representative, and you can put in a sighting report. My dear friend Bob Spearing is the director of international investigations. He will get your report, and he will get that out to a field investigator that will treat your UFO sighting with care and with, it's the real deal. That's what you get from MUFON. It's we remain scientifically based, but we have very open minds, and we know this phenomena gets very strange. And we walk that tightrope between skepticism and belief. It's for me, I don't want to believe I know. And that's one of the new MUFON bumper stickers. It has a little picture of a flying saucer. It says, I know.
Where they cross it out. Yeah, and it's written underneath.
But absolutely, you can join MUFON in the UK. We'd love to have you. And I'm hoping to see MUFON meetings and speaker meetings and stuff happen out there. Yes.
Yeah. Of course, in Outer Limits magazine, we get regular articles from Earl, the grey files, as it were. And we also get regular items from Bob Spearing as well. Both well known to me, both great guys. And I did see that message a minute ago about the US Border Patrol.
I was going to put that up in a second.
Yeah, I'm aware of it, but I've not actually seen it or looked into it yet myself.
Bob Spearing is
I'd love
wonderful.
it, if everything that we came across was real. I really would, but we've got to sort the wheat from the chaff, basically. And, that's how I view it anyway.
Thank you. Right. So I'm going to jump to the question from Nickname then. So this is one for Chris. Sorry, I didn't mean to butt in with anyone.
Sorry, mate.
So, Chris, do you remember a glowing being in a yard from this era behind a wire fence? Always wanted to see it again. From old VHS documentary from Mexico. It was a woman in the garden that was filming it. Do you recall any of that?
I don't remember it. No, I remember the Varginha incident and footage from that, which again was in Brazil, because it's a little bit more south than Mexico. But I don't remember that. But I'd be happy, if you want to send me an email with anything, any more information, anything you can put down, and see what I can find out for it. And it's the Outer Limits Mag, all one word, the Outer Limits Mag at gmail.com. Quite easy.
I've got your email address anyway. Yeah. So if anyone wants it, we'll share it, Earl. You'll send one half, I'll send the other.
So Chris, I sent you my article for October. It's a wild case. That was like crazy. It's a guy on a boat outside of Catalina Island that just watched this display. It happened synonymous with the failed NASA tether experiment where the tether broke. But there was so much activity. And the guy, his illustrations were just very detailed. I interviewed this guy probably more times than I usually will interview somebody, because it was a single witness case. The other two guys were not willing to talk about it. It scared them too much. They were afraid of their reputations and all that being ruined. So I would literally call this guy up and cold call him and say, could you remind me of what happened with the second craft that you saw, and can you describe blah, blah, blah? And there was no hesitation. He wasn't going from notes. The guy was just speaking from memory. Astounding case.
What I'll do, I'll be totally honest with you, Earl. With the passing of Calvin Parker, I've been concentrating on. We've actually got two quite large articles in the upcoming mag, all about Calvin and what people thought of him, etc. And a message from an article from Philip Mantle, who was, of course, close friends with him, was his publisher, and they'd never met face to face, but they used to talk to each other at least once a week, and share jokes and memories and all this kind of stuff. So we've been concentrating on getting that done. And of course, Hear Me Musan, now there's a 6-page article in the magazine going out as well this in October the 1st. So been concentrating on that. When I get to the end of finishing all that lot off, I'll get to the articles and go through more. But every article that you provide is brilliant. It really is.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's kind of a blessing and unusual because, MUFON, of course, our casework is kind of the intellectual property of MUFONs. That's for the journal and stuff like that. But I had spoken with a few people. It's like, well, we need to have more of a reach there to the UK and other countries. And I presented the request to the board of directors of MUFON. Can I, do it properly? We will not share any names or any information on the witnesses. That's just the way that, that's the way that you do this in a moral way. And by God, they backed me, and I guess it's been about 4 years that I've been writing now, I think, for the magazine.
About that, yeah.
And they're all straight ahead cases. That's straight from the MUFON, the CMS, computer management system. I'm actually sharing the case files, just redacting names and locations, so that we have to protect our witnesses.
Of course,
you get pilots and stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They could be grounded, the pilots. And I've had doctors, psychologists, and people that have, that have put in cases about entity face-to-face meetings and abductions and such. And anyway, I'm very, very proud of that column and OLM, and eventually we'll gather these together, and it will be the Gray Files. It will be my first book. Hoping to put it out end of this year or hopefully at least early next year, 2024.
Well, I know a good book reviewer.
Captain, my captain.
Yes.
I know someone else who's writing a book.
Yeah.
Or written a book.
Oh, right.
Do you want
That's correct.
Yes. Do you want to talk about that before we go for a break? Please?
Sorry,
Chris?
I didn't get that, Andy. Say that again, please.
Do you want to talk about your book and its release date?
Yeah, the book, the release date is still the 1st of December.
Yeah.
We are waiting to put the forward in. Once that's done, it's going out as a book. It's going out as I believe it's a softback, and we're also getting an audio book done as well. So all that needs to be planned in advance, and so on and so forth. The forward will be done fairly soon. Unfortunately, we've had to knock it back a little bit with the passing of Calvin, to get some more information together, and so on and so forth. But Peter Robbins, as far as I'm aware, is still going to provide the forward for the book. Other than that, all things are moving on straight ahead, and I'm actually started my second book, which actually involves Catalina Island, Earl. And it's all about USOs and so on and so forth. Again, I'm not rushing this one. I'm taking a little bit longer. I've actually been working on this since April time, and it should be out just after Christmas or early in the new year.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thank you. And well done.
Prolific man.
The book people. I just buy book people. Look at them. Right. Should we go for a break? It is 3 minutes and 52 seconds. There is a 10-second countdown, I think. I've had to check because I'm not doing the paid copyright for music. So I've had to change intro, outro, and break music to free music.
Just before you do it, before you go, thanks, Jojo, and thanks, Nickname. Much appreciated. Thank you. It's all right, guys. They just congratulated me. Thank you.
Yep. Well done. Right. I'll see you in just short of 4 minutes.
All right.
See you in a sec.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, and we are back. Right. I'll kick it off quickly. So I had Gary Jones on Wednesday. He's wrote the book on the Denby lights. Just let me check something. 1 second. So he's wrote the book Denby Lights: A Truthful Argument Existence. Do you guys know about the Denby Lights incident?
I remember the Denby Lights incident in North Wales, I think, if I remember correctly, from a few years ago. I think it seems to be many, many years ago now, to be quite honest, but I cannot remember everything that occurred during the time.
Right. Do you guys want to see the footage?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Sure.
Right. Oh, I'm good. I'm not
unfamiliar with the case myself, so interesting.
Right. I just need to find it and add it. So just bear with me for one moment, please.
So I noticed during your interview, it looked like evil Yoda on the bottom left. Is that, I mean, I have like the friendly guy, and he'll actually
I've got a little guy up there.
Candies for you. But...
Oh, yeah. One with the little candy sticks coming out.
I don't know if I would trust a Pez.
Can I just point out we've got a new grand piano? Can I just point out we've got a new grand piano, please?
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's very shiny. No fingerprints on that yet,
It'll never be used, mate. It'll never be used.
Oh, no. I was going to ask if you can play Rachmaninoff's, piano concerto.
We do solos, mate. We do solos. Solo, you can't hear them.
Hey, they're the best. So I got this guy, got him on eBay.
Oh, well, there you go.
So that is the original. It's got the stamp at the bottom for 1977.
Nice. Wow,
£4 on eBay.
That's pretty darn good.
Yeah, when they're selling for like 15, 20 quid, it's not bad going, really. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just waiting for the videos to upload.
You should learn how to sing, Andy. You could entertain us all.
Say that again?
You should learn how to sing, then you can entertain us all while we're waiting.
I've been trying for you. I can sing in my van when it's just me on my arm. Absolute perfect. It's like an angel. But in public, no. I wouldn't put anyone through that. Right, so we've got the videos up. I'll play. They're both about 2 minutes long. I'm sure Gary won't mind me sharing these.
No.
So I'll do video 1A. So this is the first video, and then the second one is a zoomed in of that. So let's watch it.
What a hive.
I don't know. That's impossible. Nothing could be like that, especially in this weather.
Was the both getting all bad?
Can't believe it.
Let's go home.
I'm staying here for a bit. That is amazing. Shall I wake Mum up?
If you want.
See it?
Yeah, what is it?
I don't know.
I need my glasses.
It's
I've got my glasses downstairs from
The front
Yeah.
stinks. What the hell is
It's
it?
gone now.
Wow.
Right, so that was the first original. As you can see, it is the kids filming out the bedroom window. But Gary's got the full details and the information on it, and without watching back the video from the other night, I'm not going to remember anything pretty much of what was going on, other than that you could see the craft, and then at a point they can actually see the top of it, and they can see. Obviously, it's more clear with an naked eye because when using the camera, it's not picking it all up. It does all the contrast and puts it all out. So, do you guys want to watch the close-up version?
Yeah, if you could, please, mate. Yeah,
that's
No.
interesting. I can't
Well,
explain that one. That's pretty
Wait
cool.
till you see the lights on this bit, because as you're watching it, the lights look like they're rotating one way, then all of a sudden they'll go and start going the other way, and it's like an optical illusion. It proper messes with your head. So here's the next one.
The bizarre thing is, it's spinning.
Look.
Just now I can see it through here.
Look at the lights. Look at it.
It's shaking our light.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know, it's weird.
Shut up! Fuck, he's open. Stroking my legs. Should we send it to the in post?
Come have a look at it.
There could be something in that field. Man, if you go there tomorrow with a crop circle, do you reckon that's what's moving?
Yeah, Alex, if we upload this to YouTube, Alex, yeah?
That's amazing, that.
Would you reckon the Secret Service will take?
Shit.
Alex, look right now. See above it, Alex, you can see above it. Fine. Oh my god.
That is the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
Keep your mind below.
I'm still. What the hell could that be? That is amazing. I can see the saucer. Check him.
See one?
Wow.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there were two videos I've just remembered because OP put the audio's different. So there's two separate videos. There's a lot. Gary was saying there's a lot more to that. I think he said there's like 10, 20 minutes worth. If you want the full information, just go back and watch Wednesday's show. And he's got all he goes out and investigates and does like field research and risk assessment to see what people was thinking it was and what it could be and what it isn't. So he goes out to where the golf course is and through the woods and all that, and he's put all that aerial view pictures up and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So
just go back, watch Wednesday's show.
Yeah, let's.
You could actually see structure of this craft. Eh?
Yeah,
they could see the shadow of the saucer, as he was saying. Wow.
Yeah, the guy, yeah. So the lad that was filming it could see it clearer than what you could see it on the video.
Yeah,
it goes pixelated, doesn't it?
So we can wipe out that there's no road there. There's no street lights. There's no party going on.
There's a footpath, and where the lights were, because people were saying it could be a golf buggy and all that. And
right, okay.
he sent me all the pictures. I can send the pictures to you guys. I'm sure Gary won't mind, and you can have a look at the different areas. But there's a footpath, and it's one of them where there's no way you're not getting a buggy down there. You probably get a couple of push bikes down it, but it's not. There's no way. I'll send you the pictures and let you guys have a look and see what you think.
Fascinating stuff. I shall have to be
it is.
talking to Gary. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Do we know what time of night this was?
If you've not got them. Sorry?
Sorry, do we know what time of the evening this was?
Oh, I'm thinking, I don't know why, I've got 3 a.m. It was early hours of the morning.
Quite early hours of the morning.
But,
so why are the kids asleep getting ready for school?
And I'm sure it's 3 a.m. But Chris, Scottish Paranormal, hi Chris. Yeah, it was around 3 a.m. So he says it looks like there's something passing in front of the lights. It looks like heat wave. Because as I said, it looks like it's starting to rotate one way. Then all of a sudden it kind of flickers around and goes the other way. And it's like, but that's what Elsie was saying. It kind of looks like it's got a fluid motion to it, like it's in water.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to remember what he said, trying to bring back what he said on Wednesday. I know it was only 2 days ago, but I forgot what I've done this morning. But yeah, so it's like if people put stuff in the chat, it'll trigger what he was talking about the other night.
Fascinating images, quite interesting.
Yeah. So there are some stills that he's took, and he's compared into other craft like helicopters, planes, drones, a couple of other things.
Has he tried light blasting the stills that he's taken? Basically, you alter the contrast of the image, and it brings out any shape that's in it.
Sure, that's the first thing I do. I'm guessing that you probably must have done that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, the only prosaic thing I could think of would be, possibly drones that are slave to each other with a sequence. But if he's seeing the shadow of a craft, that's why you have to with any video, you need that witness. You need the eyes on,
right?
To get the proper synopsis.
Yeah. I'm going to upload a couple of pictures because I've still got the documents that he sent me. So I'm going to do the one where he's done like inverted colours on it, and I've just got to find the image numbers. Sorry, 1 second, guys. The thing is, you can only put so many images up at a time. StreamYards, unless you're paying the full amount, I think you can put like 30 pictures up. Right, I think it's 27. There we go. Right, just let this load. I'll put a couple more up.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Andy. I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think it is? Denby lights you've just seen. What do you think they are?
Don't know, because the UFOs that I've seen, I've never had lights on them. They've always been solid metallic-looking objects.
Right. Okay. Well, the first one I saw back in the 70s, mate, was a single light moving across the sky. So I've always seen lights or orb type things.
Well,
never seen it.
Yeah, the second one that I can remember, it was a solid object. Then it shot blue, like electric blue, like the blue behind me.
Yeah.
Just a thin line across the sky. Then something, so that was horizontal. Something vertically opened, bright red. The object went in, and the both colours closed in on themselves.
Portal
and that was
technology.
A clear day, and that was in 1997, 98.
Yeah,
around mid, like late going towards the late 90s.
No hobby drones back then,
No, not like this.
Goodyear blimp doesn't disappear into a portal that closes up afterwards either,
Nickname put I think he put a year on earlier on. I think he suggested the Denby lights were from 2012. So if that's the case again, there wouldn't be many drones around, would there?
Go back to that.
No. And if there was, he wouldn't have lights. He wouldn't have lights on them like that unless a military.
Look at that.
Stuff. So they're the filters that you
pretty
use.
Good case. That's
while you guys view that, I'm going to get a couple more images up.
The black and white one on the bottom right there doesn't suggest there's anything in the middle though. Looking at that, unless it's just well, man, it's straight
Oh,
negative
right.
of the original.
So
Yeah.
if you look at the top two images, you can see like
Yeah.
a red light on top, and that
Yes,
gives
yeah.
it. So if you look at the one that's more green, you can
Yeah.
see, or I can see, a more dome-shaped
Yeah.
craft.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put 3 more images up relevant to what we've just been looking at.
Okay.
I just want to make sure I'm doing the right ones. Right, here we go. Right, so this is the next one. So he's compared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that's impressive.
That is impressive. That's very good.
I mean, if that's a hoax, it was done really, really well because they got my attention.
But if you you look at the two
quick
images in the middle, the one at the top and the one at the bottom, you can see that first of all it's horizontal, and then it kind of tilts like 35 degrees. And that's, I was saying when I was chatting to Gerry the other day, that's when the lad says that he can see the top of the craft, the top of the saucer. So it must, sorry. So if it's like that, then it kind of does, I'll do it that way. It kind of does that rotation. So it's like an uplift and then rotating forward at the same time.
So you say Gary's got some daylight images of the area?
Yes. So I've got all the information. So, so this is what, these are the other things that people said it could have been.
Yeah.
And just looking at them images, you can straight away, it's a no on all of the above.
Interesting stuff. Very interesting.
Yeah, I like that. I like that case. Lights in the sky are frustrating. Usually, I tend to not give them the unknown description, but that one I probably would. It's very, very strange.
Very
just
interesting.
going to find.
The fact is, as well, there's 3 witnesses with that. If you heard that correctly.
Yeah, you see
the videographer, a young girl, I think it was, and then the lady who came in as well. So 3 separate witnesses for that account.
Yeah, I think one of them was, from what I probably got it wrong. One of them may have been an auntie, and the other one was the mum. But there's a few other witnesses as well.
Wow.
I'll send you Gary's details over if you guys want to have a chat.
I've actually got Gary's details. I've got his email
have
and
you?
so on and so forth. So I think I'll be in touch with him.
Right.
Yeah, send it off to me. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love more info on that. It's
You'll be stuck though, Earl. You won't understand Welsh, mate.
Right. No, forget it. I don't understand Welsh. I can't. No. I speak American. I don't even speak English. It's quite a shame what we've done. You speak American English, mate. Yeah.
I struggle with English. Right, here we go. I found it. Right.
Okay.
I think this. This Denbighshire, isn't it? Right. So here's the area. So, there's a water tank. That on the bottom left one, that purple line going down is part of the. I'm sure he said that's a golf course.
Yeah.
The 2 images on the right. So one's from the house.
With the trees on,
Yeah. So the one where you can see the power line, I think he said that's from the house where it was taken from.
Yeah.
And the one above it is just a close-up version of that. Now the path.
I did suspect that there were trees in it because the lights were kind of like flickering in and out occasionally.
Yeah, that's
so
what
I was just
Chris
wondering
was
if that was if that would hide.
The lights.
This crappy little path in the middle where you can see like a 5-bar gate at the end.
Yeah.
That is the only way to get in and out. And even you try and get a golf buggy down that, riding a mountain bike or something down there, you're gonna struggle a bit, I reckon. So you're not going to get a car.
I was going to go out on a mountain bike at that time in the morning, in the dark.
Even if it was a tractor or something, you ain't getting down there.
Strange array set up of lights for a tractor though.
Well, 3 o'clock in the morning, you're not going to have anyone playing golf unless it's floodlit, and there aren't many floodlit golf courses in the UK.
Absolutely not.
There's embankment hides trails of the course, so no sign of human activity. Golf course was not open, and dense wooded area on all uneven ground.
Interesting.
So
Very interesting case.
The Denby
very
lights for you.
interesting. You know,
How come nobody else has looked into this though? If it did happen in 2012, I was aware of it. I knew the name Denby Lights, but I didn't. Why has nobody else really gone into it and examined it as Gerry has?
Don't know. Don't know.
You could always put it in as a historical sighting to MUFON, and Bob Spearing would get that. And he's a good ufologist. Bob's the best we have. So.
Yeah, well, he's wrote the book on it, Gerry. I will. Do you want me to upload the picture of the book? Credit where it's due, I think. So this is obviously Gerry holding the book up, so you know what the book looks like, and you know what Gerry looks like.
Oh, I know what it looks like. It's been to OLM conferences, man. So yeah, good guy. He's one of the good guys out there.
Need to get a copy of that.
Yes. So I will put. I've got the link. I've added it to the stream from Wednesday. So, but I'm sure Joe's put his Facebook details in the private chat for you guys if you're not already friends with him.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. It was Denbighshire, wasn't it? Denby Lights. Yes. That's is that not? That's North Wales, isn't it?
Sorry, mate.
Denbighshire, that's mid to North Wales.
As I said earlier, it's North Wales area. So
you're going out towards Drill and Preston around that.
It was one of those events I never looked into, knew of it, but remember, I was away from Ufology from 2002, 2003 till I came back in 2015-ish. So I missed a lot of things going on. So yeah, interesting. I'll be looking back into that.
I found him. There he is.
There you go. Yes.
Good stuff.
There he is on Amazon.
Folder. Yeah. Very interesting. Wow. Okay, cool.
So yeah,
cases like that, if you have the eyewitnesses along with the video, it makes all the difference.
Yeah.
And you do with that one. So, you put them
it'd be interesting to find out if all three witnesses that were there on the evening when that film was taken all actually saw the same thing. Yeah, we've got it on video.
There are more witnesses than that, but I'll let Gerry tell you about all that. That's not my story.
That's great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So,
and witnesses will have different perspectives. I mean, I've interviewed full families. I had one family that saw, technically it was just like this string of UFOs. This is before Starlink. This happened about 4 or 5 years ago. And, the youngest daughter, she kind of took me aside and she said, the rest of my family, they're not saying this, but the last UFO that was in this little train of UFOs was a triangle. It was a black triangle shaped one. They flew into a cloud bank and that was that. But having the witnesses along with video or photographs, that makes all the difference. I'll have a video sent in sometimes with no witnesses, and it's sort of like, I can't do anything with that. Somebody sent like a surf camera video of what they thought was a UFO, and it's like there's no eyes on that. It could be a glitch, it could be anything. So, but that sounds like a wonderful case.
Yes,
wow.
Thank you. Right, I know you guys are more in obviously the UFO side of everything, but what's your take on like prehistoric birds?
Pterodactyls you're talking about, I presume?
Yes.
Yep.
Because I've got a bit of an update as to the sighting that I had.
Well then.
But I need to speak to Earl privately about another incident from the guy who I'm going to be speaking about now. So basically, I was living, when I first moved down south in the UK, I was living in a place called Milton Keynes, which is about 40, 50 miles north of London. I had a pterodactyl sighting. It was on 11 o'clock in the evening. I was sky watching. I was certain point of the garden, it cut out all the artificial light, so I could look and see all the stars, and I'd just stand there and watch certain points, and you'd see stars moving about, you see satellites, planes and all that. Well, I turned round to come back in the house, and I just clocked something out of the corner of my eye on the right, and I'm like, just stood there, mouth open, just watched it till it flew out of sight. And I thought, I've seen a dragon. I couldn't think this is going back about 9 years ago. Do you know, and it's just, I went straight onto YouTube, I'm searching, and then I got, you know, when you start going off subject and you find other stuff, oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Was it this guy?
Not quite like that.
Be good. He's trained.
Sorry, 1 second. And then I completely forgot about it. And then a few years ago, I found a image on Facebook, and it was one of the. I had to sit down when I'd seen it. It's CGI or, excuse me, of some sort. But as soon as I seen this picture, I'm like, oh my god, that is what I seen, and I've kept it on air. There's 2 of them. So that's what I seen flying over.
Jeez.
At that view, I couldn't make out the feet or the face because of how dark it was. But it's that colour brown. It's probably, I'd say it's about 16 to 18 foot wingspan, and beak tip to tail was around, I'd say, about 24 foot ish. Now, one of the guys was what is actually Kaz Clark and Gary Jones when they was on. There's a guy who came on chatting about a sighting that he had when he lived in a place called Bletchley, just outside Milton Keynes, going out towards Luton. And
the place where they decoded the Enigma machine, if I remember correctly.
Bletchley Park. They built houses on that now. I was round there today, actually, of all places. And so I was chatting to him. He sent me his telephone number. We had a conversation. This was about, it was a couple of days before the awakening, so it was just over 2 weeks ago. And he was saying that there's another place further down the road called Newport Pagnell, and him and his missus were parked up in the car, and they're just watching the sunset. And he said this just giant bird just came out of nowhere, and it's flapping its wings, and it's like, he said the wings on it were massive. Now, when I seen it, it was just flew in a straight line, didn't go off track, didn't flap its wings, nothing, no sound coming from it or nothing. But where he described where he was at and looking at it to where I was looking at it and the direction it was traveling. So he's there, I'm here, and it's flying along one of the rail line. And apparently there's a ley line round there as well. Now he's seen it. He said it was around about 8 p.m. because it was coming towards the end of summer. So if they're watching the sunset, I'd say it's around mid to late August. And it was, we worked out it was the same direction, but a different time, different year, probably about 2 years out. And then the guy in the chat called Simon, there's a girl who's got a paranormal group in the Facebook page, and that they was doing a YouTube channel, and she seen one up in Warrington area, just outside Manchester. So it's just strange that I'd seen this, like I said, probably about 9 years ago. It's not the thing you go around shouting about, is it?
They're going to think you've been eating those little
thrown in the back of a van
mushrooms or something.
Yellow van with square wheels.
So, well, you know,
but we get a lot of unusual animals, don't we? Go ahead, Earl. Sorry, mate.
I'm sorry. I'm like talking over you.
It's
such an idiot.
It's all good.
Well, our own MUFON's own Mindy Toutfest, who's the dean of MUFON University, she's just not someone with a propensity to make up tall tales. She's very, very, very serious science-backed nurse and anyway. But she had a sighting that reminds me of this, which was a gigantic bird. I mean, they were out looking for UFOs. They were doing sort of the CE5 thing. Well, they didn't get a flying saucer. They got an anomalous. I mean, the thing was the size of I guess a dragon or something, and it just flew right. And but we had a lot of these weird cases. I had another case where a woman saw 30 4-foot tall jackrabbits in the middle of the road. They stopped to look at them.
I've heard about that.
The rabbits all turned around all at once, and they were not rabbits. They were our little gray friends with the black eyes. The next thing the women knew is they're flying up towards a craft. And it's just, but I think that a lot of times our visitors, they'll pick images maybe from the collective human consciousness, or things that strike a chord for us that are in one way familiar, but in another way just don't belong there. It's almost like a signature, or like a, it just, but we see that, and so it does not surprise me that you saw a pterodactyl.
No,
there
might have been a flying saucer, but that's the image.
But someone said, my mate said to me, he only lived around the corner at the time. It was a guy that I used to work with. He went, "Was it not a kite?" I'm like, from where I watched it, from the point I seen it to where it flew, I watched it till it flew out of his sight. Didn't blink, didn't take my eyes off it. I probably turned away and looked back just to see if it was real that I was looking at, and it was still there.
Wow!
It must the straight rope, because of the size of it, won't be straight. Must have been at least 1/4 of a mile long.
Jeez!
And he's flying a pterodactyl kite at 11 o'clock at night. Come on.
Well, don't forget, even if it was a kite, it's on a string. It would only go so far.
But that'd be more weird. To me, that's more weird than seeing a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
I mean,
skeptics will.
What
you got to remember is like a Scottish paranormal podcast pointed out. There are sightings like this all around the world. We've got, I can't remember the place in Africa that he mentioned. I think it could be the Congo. There's supposed to be a Loch Ness type creature that lives out there, some kind of ancient dinosaur that is still supposed to exist. We've got unusual creatures in America. We've got Bigfoot, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call him. We've got the Yeti in Great Britain. There's supposed to be Bigfoot around Great Britain.
You got the wild man.
Yeah, we've also got big cats as well, and all this kind of stuff. So we live in a strange world. But again, as Earl pointed out, are these screen images that our visitors, our other friends are not, let's be honest, are these screen images that they're putting into our brain after we've been intercepted, shall we say? And being, taken, whatever? We've got to ask
Can I just hold you on that one, because I've got a little bit more information for you. Excuse me. I just want to do a shout out to Carr, because he's donated £20. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And
the next round's on you then, Andy.
You joke. Next round's on YouTube. You know how much tax you got to pay.
I know.
Oh, no, it's all good. But so that house where I was living, that's where I had all the weird stuff going on with the shadow people, full body apparitions growling outside the bedroom window, silver ball, like metallic ball bearing objects in the sky, probably about 2 miles away. Now, this guy that was talking to, him and his missus, had seen these metallic orbs as well, and they got the same feeling that I did, that even though it was so far away, that it was watching them. There's hundreds of thousands of people about. First morning, went out. We had rabbits, so I'd go out, check them, feed them, clean them out, and what have you. I was off work for a week. The next morning, I looked up in the sky and seen it. Went out the next morning, and it's there. I thought, "Oh, look, see if it's there." And it was there again. I got prop goosebumps, got creeped out, and I thought, "No, that's not right." I felt the gut feeling was it's watching me. I went straight back in the house. So, and I lived there for about, I'd say, 5 years, and there was everything going on. I watched a shadow person. It's like a transparent, like a dark grey charcoal colour of this, what I looked like an old woman, about 4 foot, walked from my bedroom door to the bathroom door, and I was stood, and I was as close as I am to this microphone. If I'd have done that, I'd have been able to put my hand through it or touch it. And I'm just stood there. Oh my God.
Maybe you have a portal in your house, you know.
I don't live there
anymore. Yeah, stuff comes through. But it sounds like a Jacques Vallée case. I mean, and you know, I love Jacques, and I love that high strangeness stuff. And his whole attitude is that the UFO phenomenon is just a continuation of the weirdness that has gone on forever and ever and ever. You know, Magonia and Ferry and the airship sightings of the 1800s and the flying shields seen in Roman, you know, Empire days. It's nothing new. It's been here forever, and stuff comes through. It's that interdimensional thing. Yeah, I have a song called Interdimensional Thing. I have to record it someday.
Yes, record it and we'll play it on air.
Yeah, talking of airships and so on and so forth, what's your opinion of the Texas UFO where the alien body was supposed to be found?
Oh, yeah, right. The Aurora case you're talking about, Aurora, Texas case. It doesn't surprise me. It hit a windmill, and apparently the townspeople went and gave the creature a funeral and buried him in a well that was cemented over. And then the cemented over well was mysteriously, when the story kind of made the press again, it appears that it was extracted by somebody. I wonder who. You know, DOD or NSA or CIA or one of those 3-letter acronyms, you know, MI6, you know. And maybe it was Nick Pope, you know, the shovel gun. No. I don't
could have been.
Yeah.
Could have been.
We won't go there. Philip Mantle leading me out.
So sorry, just jumping back. So with the pterodactyl, that kind of confirms my sighting. I've not got any
pretty cool
thing now to think maybe I didn't see it. So
I would suggest it's like Earl did. It's more of a screen memory for something else. Then let's be honest. You know, we do not see every day pterodactyls flying around anywhere. You know, we just don't see them. If we did, that would imply a breeding population.
Yeah, but could it be a time slip?
Could be. I don't know.
all I can tell you is
my realm of understanding at this point. That's just
changes
one of those
by the
things
hour.
not scientifically explainable. You know, that's kind of the terminology we use at MUFON when we bump into something that is not scientifically explainable. But not, you know, not scientifically explainable stuff happens, and we all know that. I know that. I've seen stuff that was not scientifically explainable. I mean, I've seen 2 UFOs pretty darn close up. One of them I was maybe 35 feet away from. I was under its influence. I was not under the influence. I was on my way to work. It was a daytime sighting. Big old blocky looking triangular thing hanging over a schoolyard, a prep school, a couple miles away from where I live. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to figure out, this is a looking UFO. Maybe the students are trying to hoax the faculty. How did they do this? And I'm getting closer and closer, and I'm just seeing there's nothing to tether this up with. It's just massive tonnage hanging in the sky that doesn't belong there. Did I stop my car? Did I take photos? Did I take video? No. Closer I got to it, experienced the Oz effect, where external sounds were not audible, you know, around my car. Time seemed very strange. You know, it was like, looking back at it, it's like, God, in some ways it seems like it took an hour. In other ways, it seems like it was just a couple minutes. Slowed my car down, but the closer I got to it, I was not under my own cognitive faculties. Drove right past that miracle. No photos, no videos. When I was 3 miles away from it, I stopped my car. I was face palming. I was ready to fire myself from MUFON because I'm the worst field investigator that ever existed. I mean, I had the smoking gun in front of me, But you know, they're
it's
under control when you're that close.
it's all right, mate. Everybody's saying, why didn't you get a video? Why didn't you get the last thing you're going to think about when you're in that situation is putting your hand in your pocket or wherever your phone is and dragging the phone. You want to take it in with ease, not with a device in your hand. It's the last thing you think. How long is that sighting going to be there in front of you? Put your hand in your pocket, it could go.
Yeah,
so
they didn't want me to
you
take
don't
a
think
video.
about doing it.
But I'm absolutely certain they did not want me to take a video or a photo. It was a teachable moment for me because I had a misconception about sightings. You know, that was the excuse I would use. If somebody, you know, is that close to a UFO, I'd say, well, why didn't you take a photo? You know, I don't believe you. And now I know why they didn't.
I am
but when I seen
convinced.
sorry,
Andy, I'm just going to say, I am firmly convinced that they do interact with us without having a direct contact with us. Whether it's telepathic, whether they can do something along those lines. My first sighting, again, back in the 70s, when I called up to my friends, look, guys, there's a UFO in the sky, completely cloudless sky. It just blinked out, and it was directly above me. It just blinked out and disappeared. It did not follow the direction it should have gone. So that, to me, tells me that they do interact with us in some kind of way. My second sighting, I didn't make a noise, didn't say anything. The two people I was with didn't say anything. And we saw it come down the other side of the river, split into two and go in two different directions until it then popped out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating.
I was just going to say, a lot of the times when I've seen stuff, I've had my phone in my hand, not even considered to take a photograph or a video.
And how long's the battery going to last if you do that? Because they can interact with the battery strength as well. So.
Yeah, but I just didn't even. It's like days later when you're thinking back at what's happened and what you've seen. It's like, why didn't you just open my camera? It was in my hand.
Sometimes what you see with your eyes and what you get a photograph of are two different things. Greg Bishop talked about this one case that, again, Valet talked about. It was a pilot. He saw what looked like just your classic flying saucer. He took a Polaroid photograph of it. In the meantime, he landed his plane. You know, he took the old school photographs. When he saw the photograph, it was not a saucer. It was like this weird 6-pointed star, metallic looking thing. Like you would see over a diner back in the 50s. You know, they had weird, you know, architecture where it looked like the drive-in, you know, cafe was going to fly through the air, you know. But that's what it looked like. It was two totally different things. So, you know, they're in control, and what you see is not necessarily even what's there.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. Right, we've got a few questions. Is that okay? So,
do our best. We'll do our best.
Yes. So the first one is from Baby with a Laser. And he would like to know, what is the most surreal case a gang has heard of or witnessed?
Am I going first, or do you want to do it?
Yeah, come on.
You go first, Chris.
Okay. Some of the most surreal things I've heard have come from Paul Sinclair. You know, the sightings that they've had up there around the Bempton area, lights appearing under the sea off Flamborough Head. And when we're talking about, I don't know why the cliffs are there, 150, 200 foot, something like that, above the sea. You know, these lights have been seen real close in. I've actually seen them myself up there, or at least one set of lights up there when I did a sky watch up there a couple of years ago when my son, just me and my son went, and we was there all night, and that's what we saw. I got a quick photograph, and unexplainable. So those kind of things fascinate me. But what also fascinates me are the stories of big cats that we get around the UK. Yes, there could possibly be a breeding population of big cats somewhere around the UK. We're all aware, people who follow cryptozoology, that the law changed in Britain in the 70s, where a lot of cats were released into the wild. And, you know, even so, they are alien. And by that, I mean they're alien to the country that we're in now. You know, if there wasn't a breeding population, people wouldn't be seeing them. How far out they are, I don't know. But, I've had reports from 50 miles where I'm sat right now, to 10 miles from where I'm sat right now, to reports in Gloucester, which is about 200 miles from where I'm sat right now. So they are around, they are in the country. There's enough evidence, and we've got DNA evidence that has been captured now, which suggests that there is a breeding population of lynx or pumas or something like that in the country.
Yeah.
So it's them kind of things I like.
Yeah, near where I am, you've got the Chilterns, which is probably about 20 odd miles away. And it's so part of that covers, if you heard of Whipsnade Zoo, so that's just on like the other side, and there's been loads of big cat sightings around there. Now me and the missus go with the kids, and we used to go for walks around there. But I'm planning on going there towards the end of the year. We was going to go initially to do sky watch, but because of all these big cat sightings, I'm thinking might do 2 days of it, camp overnight, do sky watch, and do a big cat lookout.
Sorry, mate. I was just going to say, remember to take the beans with you.
Yes. Yes. I've even got there.
You guys are bringing the can of beans. Oh,
that's the can of gas.
We can't get proper British beans here in America. We have the baked beans, but they're different from yours. Yours are more the tomato sauce.
Oh, they're the best.
It's beans on toast is like that was the Beatles' favorite thing. In Americans, we read that.
I grew up on that.
What? Yeah,
every day. I used to go home from school for my dinner, lunch, and have beans on toast.
There you go. Well, send me a
7
can.
years.
I still have to visit the UK. I haven't. My mom used to go there every summer. She spent her summers there across from the palace. She would rent. She and her brother would rent a flat from the. There was a convent that was there. So they would get a really good price on it. They would just have like a little, heating plate, and they would do their beans and toast, and all that. But that was my mom's R&R every year. During the year she was working as a headhunter for aerospace, but during the summers it was all about, being in London, and sort of that was her joy and her escape. And she made me promise her, you have to go someday. You have to promise me. It's like, well, you could have taken me. I know. Well, I have to get there. I have to, and I'm a, you know me, I'm the big Beatles guy. I have to do the Liverpool pilgrimage, because that's
where Paulie's on the opposite side of Liverpool, mate.
Yeah, I used to go drinking on Matthew Street, and that's just
okay.
But every other pub is called the Cavern, the original. How many originals?
The original's gone.
No,
but Raoul Best and those guys, they redid it, and apparently it's very, very nice. And of course, McCartney played his show there and all that. But but I have to do that.
Just slightly changing the subject. I was once working over there in Liverpool, and didn't realise it, but I was actually on Penny Lane, and when we left Penny Lane, we actually stopped at Strawberry Fields, and I didn't recognise them until literally I saw the sign. Oh wow,
it's my favorite song in the universe is Strawberry Fields Forever.
Yes,
that's my very favorite song since it came out, 1977. I had the record. My uncle gifted it to me. And my parents were conservative. I had to hide it behind the kiddie records, and of course we had the full LP of it in the US. Now, you guys, that's the only US Beatles album that Britain likes as well. It was the double EP, the way that you guys had it.
One of the best movies is Yellow Submarine. I know it's animated, but it is amazing.
I love it.
And you're telling me the Beatles weren't tripping?
No, the Yellow Submarine is a yellow UFO. It goes interdimensional. It goes into holes and pops up in an alternate universe where they meet their doppelgangers.
Yes,
brilliant.
And the Nowhere Man. He's my favorite character.
Oh, Jeremy Hillary Boo, PhD.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it, Gerry.
Well, I got my little yellow submarine there.
Yes, I was going to say.
You might be able to see it. I don't know.
I think it was there. Yeah. I remember you showed us it last time, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to be messing things up if I try to get it. So, as far as weird and abstract and high strangeness cases, I mean, I revel in that stuff. All right. To go back topic if I can. And for me, if it's a weird case, that's normal. That's their signature line. I mean, the UFO coming down with the two UFO knots preparing the gentleman pancakes, and that's like absurdity is an intentional thing. It's to set it apart from everything else and to let you know this is not from here. This is special. This is weird. And this is normal. You guys, you think that the prosaic lives you live, that's normal, but the universe is much more magical than you give it credit for. I think that the case with the 4-foot tall rabbits that turned around all at once and took those two women up to a craft. That's my favorite high strangeness case right now. The one thing I didn't tell you about is that they had missing time then, and they sort of came to in this diner hours and hours later. Apparently they walked in like zombies and just lay down there on the counter, and the waitress like woke them up and said, "What's going on? What's going on with you guys? Are you going to order something?" Well, it was hours later, and the miles that they'd gone between Colorado and Utah, where they wound up, did not show up on the car odometer. It was like they must have transported the car along with the two women to the destination point. I did artwork for, I actually spoke about this case at the MUFON symposium. And this is the artwork that I did for it. I did post it on social media, but you can see the giant bunny. You can see the strands of DNA going up to the craft there. But it felt like an inspired moment of artwork, because there it was, and I'm looking at it. I'm going, God, how did I do that? It's pretty artsy fartsy, and I was really proud of it. But that's my favorite high strangeness case right now.
What about you, Andy? What about you, Andy?
Mine. So I've got a couple. One of them are the Woolpit kids, the boy and the girl, green, that turned up. I think it's the 1920s. The girl, I know the boy died. He got ill and they couldn't do anything for him. But then the girl, I think the girl got married and had kids, and after so long, they learned to speak English, and the green colour to the skin kind of faded.
There's an earlier case. I've actually wrote it in my first book. I think it's mentioned in the Chronicles, which were written by a guy who, I think he was a priest or something. I forgot all the details now, but he was born in Bridlington, of all places, and he talks about green children in something in the 14 or 1500s. So I think I'll find the details and send you it, Andy.
Yeah, please.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're all right, because I've been to Woolpit quite a few times, even through work and when we've gone out for the day, and it's not a big place. It's right off the A14, just before you get into Felixstowe, and it's just. There's a couple of new build estates, but the main area, it's on like 2-3 roads, and you could drive around it in less than 10 minutes. And it's just, I've gone there, and like when I've been working, just parked up and had my lunch there, and it's like, if you sit here long enough, will I see something? But obviously in the 1920s, it's a bit different. You've got the bypass running through, which links Felixstowe, goes all the way up to joins the M6, doesn't it? Just past where I live. So that goes for 100 and odd miles. Then you've got a couple of industrial estates on there. There's still a lot of farm area and a lot of greenery in that, like woods and what have you. But obviously it's going to be a big difference from what it was, 100 years ago now.
Absolutely.
But it's just, did any more come through? Was it just them two? Are they the only two that people know about? It's just so intriguing. And I heard about that. I was probably about 15, 16 when I first heard about it. And it's just one of them stories that stuck with me.
See, I thought you was going to mention the earlier one, which I mentioned a second ago, but when you said 1920, interesting. So, yeah.
Sure, the 20s.
Yeah. I'll look for the information in my book, mate, and I'll send you it.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Got a couple more questions for that. But just before we do, Earl mentioned the guy with the pancakes. You ready?
There he is, Joe.
There he is.
Yeah. Simon.
They look absolutely
they don't
awful.
look very good.
I don't think there's much vitamins or fiber or anything in that.
Buckwheat, apparently. My God.
It just
the Air
wouldn't eat
Force.
that. I was hungry.
Somewhere in the Air Force's blue room or wherever they keep all this stuff, there's some very old.
They'll be well molded by now, Earl. They'll be well molded.
It doesn't look too happy there, does it? To be honest.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe somebody wanting to jump on the UFO flying saucer bandwagon. You never know.
I don't know. J. Allen Hynek really loved that case, and the guy passed lie detector tests to his dying day.
Well, he would if he thought it was the truth. He would pass though, wouldn't he, Earl, if he believed it to be the truth?
You believe that.
He believed it was true. So,
I
I wouldn't have believed my contact story if somebody had told it to me before I knew about how weird this phenomenon is. I wouldn't have believed myself. But when you go through it, when you experiencing is believing, it's knowing. It's not believing, it's knowing.
Yeah.
Belief is like faith. But I have the memory, and it's just like I have a memory of, eating breakfast this morning. So it's what it is.
I can't remember that far back.
Phenomenon is.
No, same. Right, got a couple more questions. Next one is from Car. Nigel, as he's known, and he's put, Chris, have you seen white flying ball of light with no sound?
Yes, twice.
I'm going to send this to both of you. Have you had many accounts of this?
I've actually personally, my first sighting was a single point of light moving across the sky, leapfrogging across itself. It started about 12 miles away, got above me, disappeared completely. Small pinprick of light disappeared. My second one was 1997, and down on the banks of the River Humber, a ball of light came down the opposite bank, so on the south bank of the Humber, where the more or less where the Humber Bridge is, that give you a location. Came down. I was watching it. I watched it go to my right, and then it disappeared. And my two friends on my left-hand side watched it split and go to the left. When I turned to them and said, it's disappeared, they said it hasn't, it's going under the Humber Bridge. So it came down, split, and went two different directions.
Ooh.
Again, balls of light. That's man.
Well, it's like a Foo Fighter. And when my mom saw, when she was 16 years old, she and her sister would sleep in the screen in Porch in Iowa where they lived. And my mom told this story. She didn't relate it to UFOs. She called it ball lightning, but it intelligently pushed its way through the screen, hovered over her sister, hovered in front of my mom, went and pushed its way back through the screen. And she said it sounded perfectly silent, except when it was pushing through the screen, it sounded like a hive of bees. She ran after it to the middle of a cornfield. She stood under it, looked at it hanging there 40 feet above, and it popped like a soap bubble, she said, and smelled like ozone.
The second one that I had, Earl, it was, if I held a 5p piece, I don't know if you know, 5p piece is the smallest of our coins.
About the size of a dime.
About the size of a dime. And that would have covered it at arm's length. It came down, as I say, about 2 miles across the river, floated down and stayed about the same size and went in them 2 different directions.
Hmm.
So it was quite a big ball of light,
Wow.
air flight, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it was. So that was my second sighting.
Dr. Irena Scott and her sister, same. I mean, they watched something like the size of a ping pong ball spinning around the light, and it scared them. They were little girls. They jumped up and fell down the stairs together, like Three Stooges or something. But, to ask if next time you have Irena on, ask her about that extraordinary story.
Yeah. She was on Paul Sinclair's the other week, wasn't she?
I actually missed that one, to be quite honest with you, Andy. So, yeah.
Well, I've missed a few because Thursday night now is gym night, but I managed to. I got on the exercise bike and was watching it or doing that. So yeah,
I love Irene.
I'd like to get her on, so I need to get that sorted.
Yeah, she'll do it.
Yeah,
she'll do it. She's good, very good. She's wrote a couple of books as well, so you get plenty of questions.
Yeah, she mentions my mom's story in one of them. I think the mirror. What's the one? The mirror. I can't remember it.
Ask her about the latest one.
Her third book she wrote.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, the latest one is Pascagoula Beyond Reasonable Doubt.
Oh, I love that. That is the best.
It's a fantastic book. I've got a copy of it as well, Earl. But I've got an individual copy. It's still got all the typing errors in it and everything. So that'll be a collector's item in a few years.
Yeah.
Right. We are on the 2-hour mark, and I've got 2 more questions. I know it's gone so fast tonight. So can we do these as quick as, please? Sorry for being pushy. First one is from Nickname. Where is the UFO hotspot in the world, Chris and Earl, in your opinion, and why?
I'll let you do this one first, Earl.
About midway between Catalina Island and the mainland here, there's either a portal there or alien base, because there's so many reports from there, and they're all good ones.
Cool. Thank you, Chris.
Regarding myself, I think Bonnie Bridge back in the 90s was a good location. I do know off the North Wales coast is one of the islands up there. It's said there's an alien base there. So there were a lot of sightings in the North Wales area over the years. And whether or not there is something under them, for example, as we know, the Catalina Island area, as Earl's just mentioned, there's supposed to be an alien base there as well. Is it LA? What I'm thinking of, Earl? Just in the ocean there. So, these are all associated in close proximity to alleged alien bases.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Sorry for trying to push you quicker.
Sorry.
Right. Last question is from OP Evers. And they want to know advice for new to the topic. When there are TV programs that even show blatantly false info that does mislead.
Right, do you want me to go first? Because I know this gentleman. And I use the term gentleman very loosely because he's my brother. So, basically, check everything. Don't accept what you're told. Check absolutely everything. And that way, these people who are giving out false information, what to them, they may think it's right, but unless you check it yourself, you won't know if it's right. Check everything. Don't believe everything everybody tells you. Double check and then double check again.
Yeah.
I'll reiterate Chris's wonderful advice there. There's a sucker born every minute was P.T. Barnum's old saying. And, there are people that sort of live for that and don't care about the veracity and truth of reports, would rather have a stunning story. But, you want to go and make sure your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted and check every little detail. Talk to other witnesses and listen to the skeptics, even though we don't like them. Sometimes they're correct, unfortunately. So, just be circumspect and don't be a fool. Don't be one of those guys that P.T. Barnum said is born every minute.
Just one more thing. I'm not a religious person at all, but there is a scripture in the Bible that says, make sure of everything and hold fast to what is fine. In other words, hold it close to your body, you've not lost it. Once we do that with any UFO story, any Bigfoot story, any paranormal story whatsoever, then we're on the right track. And sometimes I think skeptics make the best investigators, because once you turn a skeptic, they are a true believer.
Yep.
I'm finished.
Yes, I know, because I live with one, and there's no convincing her, regardless. So I give up. And so something magnificent happens, and she has that the ultimate experience. Then, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
See, that's we need more of them. We need more of them.
That looks like me dad. That looks like me dad.
Who's your dad? Oh
that
my
was
God. He's a hybrid. Catch him quick.
That's it.
Gabonette.
That's it.
Andy. Yeah.
Yeah, I've only got me ET, and I've got to be careful because he moves.
Oh.
Actually,
home.
isn't that what Amy Musan used the other day? Do you
So,
know how
like,
big those aliens were? Just while we're finishing, those aliens that actually were on display in glass boxes in the Mexican hearings were only 29 inches tall. So why are we scared of them? I'm 29 inches tall. I'm 6
Bite
foot.
your ankles.
We're gonna ankle nippers.
Yeah, like Jack Russell.
Ankle knickers. That's a Britishism, my God.
Right, I think the batteries have gone on him, which is good because once it starts, it doesn't shut up for about 10 minutes. So we're all safe. Right.
Okay.
Just before we do go, I have 3 streams to do next week. So on Tuesday, I'm going to be interviewing Carr or Nigel Impit, as we all know. Then on Wednesday, I've got Eric Mintle. Eric is also the guy that made me buy this ET, just to let everyone know. And then on Friday the 29th, we've got Brian Bowden. He's going to be coming on and talking about
Sir Brian Bowden.
Ask
him why he's just Sir Brian Bowden.
Right, okay.
It will tell you. It's not a joke. It's true. But ask him why he's there. And before we go tonight, Earl, I do want to have a quick chat with you before we disappear.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, cool.
Sorry, Andy.
Yeah, no, you're all right. Then a week on Wednesday, we've got Amanda Quill coming on. She's going to be talking about spirit animals. Nothing the following Friday because I've got to go out to a party, so that's not happening. But on the 11th of October, I have Preston Dennett coming on, and he's going to talk. It's going to be not a show and tell, but he's going to talk us through on how to do astral travel. So step by step, what level you need to do to get up to then get to the point where you can travel. So, but I've been trying it. Yeah, I will do. I've been trying this for a few weeks now, and then I give up for a couple of weeks, and I tried again, I think 2 nights ago. And I think I got the outer body bit, and then I woke up and I was straight back in my body. It it wasn't even a second; it was a moment.
Wow!
So
there's a good song by the British band Yes called "Astral Traveler."
Yeah,
from the
you're friends with them, aren't you? Yeah.
Chris Squire was a very dear friend, and he saw a UFO close up. So.
Yes. Yeah. I remember you telling me that.
It's Chris. He passed away some years ago.
Sorry, I'm just reading a couple of bits in chat. Scottish Paranormal Podcast. I'll give you the rest of the gateway. Oh yeah. So he sent me some audio from Monroe. Was it Chris Monroe? So he sent me some of the audio what I listened to. So I've got the iMask with the Bluetooth and the earbuds built in. So I put that on. I've been using that to help me do it, and that seems to be working better than just laying in bed and listening to it through a speaker. Cheers, Chris. Thank you for that. So yeah, that's what I've got coming up next week. And tomorrow, don't forget, this is coming on. So it's Paranormal Unit, Paranormal Film Unit. This is a filming that we did last year. It's starting, I'm sure it's tomorrow on YouTube. It's starting at 8 o'clock and it's going to be running until Christmas or until the shows end. So that's that. Right. Thank you guys for coming on. Absolutely loved it, as always. Great guests, great chat. Everyone in the chat, thank you for joining and asking questions. Thank you, everyone that's donated to the show. Really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone that's listening on podcasts, getting more and more subscribers. I've now set Patreon up for the podcast. So I'm going to be doing a stream for the Patreon so people on podcasts get that a little bit more. And I'm going to be setting up, I've called it members guest streams. So the tier 2 Dogman stream, it's going to be, I was chatting to you guys beforehand, it's going to be for members only, but the members get a chance to come on screen like we've done now, like a panel, and you're able to ask the guest questions directly rather than just putting it in the chat. So that should be up and running within the next 2 weeks. So there'll be more details and more updates on about YouTube. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Earl.
Thank you for the invite.
Anytime. You are more than welcome. So that's it for me.
Always a pure joy. Thank you.
It really is. I think we need to do more music as well. Well, Earl, you need to do more music.
I need to clone.
That was a time slip. I went back to the 90s.
That was a time slip, mate, definitely. About 63 years left there.
Money.
Urban Spaceman. Bonzo Dog.
Right,
there you go.
You guys can wait until after we come off air. Is that all right for a quick chat?
Sure.
Right. Excellent. Right. Have a great weekend, everyone. And we'll see you on Tuesday, if not before. Take care and goodbye.